good evening, everyone, and welcome to Love 101 FM. Whether you're joining on Facebook or YouTube, this is Family Time. Now, Family Time is about your issues and your relationships, whether it is your family yard or abroad. Family Time is for you. Now, Family Time is produced by the Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families that will lead to a healthy nation. So, please stay tuned with us, connect with us on all our social media platforms, call a friend, tell a friend, neighbor, cousin, auntie, let them know Family Time is on. We ask that you visit us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. And on Instagram, you can keep up with all that's happening at simply FLMJA. I am your host for today, Tamika Scott Walters, and as always, we have another interesting topic up for discussion. So let's think. God forbid that at some point in our lives, we are going to need the support of family or friends during some kind of illness. It doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter for how long. We want to ensure that we are able to give support with love, dignity, and respect. It may be a terminal diagnosis or it could be a long term illness. Whatever the cause, we want to ensure that a home is provided. Now, whether it is your home that is your personal residence or a caregiving home, we want to see how best we can make life for the time that's left very good and respectable for loved ones and also for ourselves. Uh, After all, we are family and each one needs one. So we want you to stay tuned with us for today's topic, a caring home when a loved one is ill. A caring home when a loved one is ill. We want you to share your feedback with us today. So today's feedback question is, what does a home need to be a home? Whether it's your family residence or a care facility. What does a home need to be a home? Whether it is your family's residence or a care facility. Be sure to send your answers to us via WhatsApp, text, or voice note, and you can send to 876-997-3125. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less. You can also give us a call on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8328. And of course, comment live on our social media platforms, YouTube, and on Facebook. And we will be right back with our very special guest for today, Apostle Larry Brown and Carrie Heron, as we talk about a caring home for when a loved one is ill. We'll be back soon.
Be heard, be seen by your audience on Love 101 Radio and on social media. Call Love 101 for advertising rates that fit your needs. Exposure for your event, your business, concerts, church activity, civic events, seminars and conferences, job vacancies, specials, and more. Let Love 101 help you get your information out there. Call Love 101 FM now and talk with our sales and marketing experts and get the reach you need. Call 876-968-9596 or 876-968-9597 and ask for our sales and marketing department Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or email love101fm at gmail.com. Love 101 FM, radio and social media platforms, making it happen for you.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM. And a very special welcome to our guest today. We have Apostle Larry Brown, who is a very recent widower from Virginia in the United States. Welcome, Apostle Brown.
Good evening. God bless you. Thanks for the opportunity to be on tonight.
All right. You are very welcome, Apostle, and condolences to you on the passing of your wife. Please do accept that on our behalf.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we also have with us Carrie. Now, Carrie, we want to hear from you also. Now, Carrie has her dad, who is presently in need of special care, and Carrie is located here in Jamaica. So today, we will hear both their stories as we delve into today's topic. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. God is faithful.
All right, sending well wishes to you also as you take on the role as a caregiver for your dad. Now, to all our listeners, remember we want you to share. Today's feedback question is: what does a home need to be a home? What does a home need to be a home, whether it is your family residence or a care facility? Remember to send us your WhatsApp text or voice note. Keep them 30 seconds or less and send to 876-997-3125 or give us a ring on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8328. And you can also comment live on our social media platforms. It is said that home is where love resides. It is said that home is where the heart is. Memories are created at home. Friends always belong, and the laughter never ends. But how can this how can this saying really cement the meaning to so many different persons? And it may not even be a nice definition of such, but what should a home be like? What should a home look like? Some of us from movies have the vision of the white picket fence and the swing in the backyard. Um, is that part of the definition that persons who are looking for care think about? The aesthetics of the home, or when we think about today, we're in the year 2025. What really is the definition of a home? Um, I will start with you first, Apostle Brown.
Thank you for the opportunity. To me, a home, what are you talking about? In your personal home, an apartment, or a medical facility? But especially in the home, there has to be love. Um, there has to be compassion. And one of my takeaways from my experience is that you have to see the person, not their situation or their illness. If you can see the person, then you can make them feel comfortable by what you do and what you say and what you even bring into a particular room. That makes them feel accepted in that space. So the home is where the love is and where we show up and demonstrate that.
I love that. So, Carrie, is that the same for you? Love, compassion, visibility, to be seen regardless of what the situation is.
Ideally, home is where the loved ones are, and it's concentrated that in that particular space. But sometimes people have to live alone, and home is where they live alone. Sometimes people have to be placed in other places. And so the truth of the matter is, I do believe that home is where the heart is. And it's where we can really find all of the things that are needed, the care, the kindness, all of the things that people need to be safe and secure mentally, psychologically, spiritually, physically.
Yeah. I believe that the need you both mentioned, home is where the heart is. And then someone else maybe would say love resides in the heart. So as we take that background that you have both shared, what is it that drives or cements that for for persons across the globe? Um, is this definition going to look different for persons based on family tradition? Is it perhaps unique to a cultural space? I mean, Apostle Brown, you are located in the United States, and Carrie, you are located here in Jamaica, but so much of what you've said in terms of love and home is where the heart is, really is similar. So, what dictates this culturally, traditionally? Is it based on the illness or the needs of a loved one?
To me,
Go ahead first.
um, to me, it's more spiritual than anything. Goes to my wife, both were pastors, um, and it's also based on a relationship. I mean, we were married for 45 years, but we knew each other for 52 years. And so I was a caregiver for the last 2 years. So I learned a lot that that it's really you have to see the person to meet that need. If you don't see the person, you can't do it. You may be frustrated, tired. So I understand the cultural thing, but it's really a relational thing. And if you have God in it, then love will come.
It, it, there is, I agree with that. There's also the case of the cultural aspect, because in some cultures, it's more, in some cultures, we practically never see some cultures having their loved ones being placed in sort of
Yeah.
home
Facility.
care by other people. They will have somebody else come into the home if needs be. If there's assistance, that would probably happen. Or, but more than likely, not even that. In some cultures, they pride themselves on taking care of the elderly, and usually one or other persons will come together, and that is their part of the major sacrifice of, it's part of the circle and the cycle of life, where we know that mama, papa, or somebody, maybe aunt or somebody, will age at some point, and it is our duty to take care of them in their elderly state. In other cultures, it's not such a big thing for others, for strangers to take care of their loved ones. And and also in present times, you find that as we move away from cross generational living, where you don't have that many generations living together, and you have like nuclear homes, and people are working two jobs and so on and so forth, it might not be convenient or possible for people to actually take care. In my instance, I don't live here in Jamaica. I'm here visiting. And so, can I physically take care of somebody who is not in, who cannot be taken out of the country? No. And moving, sometimes the logistics is not always there. So there are situations that circumstances cause for adjustments that we probably would not like.
Ah, I understand completely. Um, it will look different for everyone based on the needs, the dynamics of the caregiver. Also, that has to be considered. So we're going to get to the heart of what is required for care, whether it will be a facility or whether it will be primary residence. To all our listeners, remember we want to hear from you. What does a home need to be a home? Whether it is a family residence or a care facility. Send us your WhatsApp text or voice notes. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less, or give us a call on our studio lines at 876 920 876 sorry 968 8327, or at 876 968 8328. Also, remember to comment on our social media page. We want you to know that the numbers for the Family Life Ministries office in Kingston are 876 920 1034 or 876 926 8101. We'll be back soon with Pastor Larry Brown and Carrie Heron.
The time by Grace Could Move is
5:16 p.m. Jump. I beg your pardon. That should be 5:46 p.m.
Changing opportunity. Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
We've seen a lot of our customers make some good moves over the years. Whether it's sharing a hug with a friend you haven't seen in a long time or sharing a meal, Grace has been there. So let's keep making these moments together, because rest assured, every time you choose Grace, you know you're making a good move.
It's more than a race. It's a launch pad. The New Testament Church of God 5K Run Walk to raise funds for 100 scholarships for students from primary to tertiary levels. Step out in faith. Make every stride count. It's the New Testament Church of God 5K Run Walk, Saturday, July 19 at 6:30 a.m. Starting point at the Emancipation Park. Register now at runningeventsjamaica.com. Call 876-967-4903 for more information. As the New Testament Church of God celebrates 100 years in Jamaica.
Welcome back to Family Time. We are talking about the caring home when a loved one is ill. You are tuned to Love 101 FM. Today we have two special guests who will share with us their personal stories and needs as it relates to caring for their loved ones. Now, I have love, I have compassion, I have noted for the person to be seen regardless of what the challenge is. That is what you are requiring for a home to be a home. Even if it's a residence, primary residence, family residence, or a long term care facility, what other criteria are there?
Well, I want to answer by saying I appreciate the previous responses from Ms. Heron. It's enlightening because it helps me to understand about the different cultures, and it's great that you have those generations supporting one another, and that's not always the case. Um, but I also I need to reinforce the part about whether that's your spouse or your mother, your sibling, or it could be a young child. So the parameters change depending on the person. The needs change depending upon the person. But what I find across the board, and I've shared this with medical um, personnel, even in treating that person, if they are disconnected, they don't know the patient, and they come with some clinical diagnosis. But you, as the caregiver, advocate, you have to be the one to say, wait a minute, no, this is my spouse, this is my grandmother, this is my child. I have a responsibility, and you advocate for them, whether physically in the home or in a facility. That's my takeaway based on my experiences.
Thanks for sharing, Apostle Brown. Carrie, you can go ahead.
Sorry, what was the question?
Well, what we discussed before, what are the other requirements? We know you have uniquely shared love, compassion, seeing the person. Apostle Brown just shared, in addition to whether it's a unique illness, the role of the person. It could be a child even, because so many times we think about care being required for the elder, but it could be anyone. So, what are some of the other requirements that you think would be necessary to provide healthy, dignified care for those who are ill?
The first thing is that we have to actually honor and respect the person being cared for, whatever state that the person is in, whether it's at whatever the relationship is. If the even if the person has no relationship with you, outside of you being a caregiver or provider of a service. And that's a very basic thing, honoring the fact that this is a human being who requires help and who is in a vulnerable state. If you're at a point where you need somebody else to take care of you, it means that you're extremely vulnerable, and you're vulnerable to lots of things, lots of harm. And somebody, as Apostle says, will have to advocate for you, not only for medical things, but even in terms of making decisions in your best interest. So there has to be a level of respect for the person that's elderly, sorry, that's being taken care of, as well as honor for that person, as well as compassion and care. And you also have the capacity. That's another issue. Are you called for this? Because a lot of people who are taking care of people and providing homes and charging others to take care of their elderly have no business, absolutely zero business taking care of anything that breathes.
Yeah, I understand completely. Perhaps they are looking only from the financial gain. I want you both to share with me briefly your unique story. Now, Apostle Brown, you mentioned you would have been married for a wonderful 45 years. You would have been together with your wife for 52 years, and in the last 2 years, you became her caregiver. Um, Sorry, I think for yourself, your dad, he is in a facility. So I want you both to share for me your unique perspectives that led you to the decision.
Okay. Yeah, I knew my wife for 52 years because I met her when she was very young. She was 11. They got married at the ages 18 and 21. So then it's 45 years. So my perspective is I'm used to caring for her in the home and taking her on appointments and stuff and going to the various facilities and taking care of her there. Um, so I think my situation, I don't think it's unique. I think I had to learn a lot over those 2 years. Um, and I'll say the thing that it's hard for me to uh, be short with my answers. So the thing I learned the most, even though I knew it all of those years, I had to learn patience to listen to her when she told me what she wanted and how she wanted it. That didn't make any sense. So I had to slow down. It wasn't about me, how tired I may have been. It was about she's telling me what she needs and she's telling me what she wants. So that's when I engaged. And I think that's when I had the most impact, not only on her care, but her peace of mind. That makes a difference. She felt uh, well taken care of, but more importantly, she felt loved.
So
Yeah.
my father is now in hospital, so it's a little bit different. And he's in hospital. He was previously in a nursing home led by a doctor, which I will not name, and I will name the nursing home either. But he was brought in for severe malnourishment and malnutrition. Sorry, malnourishment and dehydration. So he's been in hospital. He also has an infection an aggressive affection that they're fighting. So based on what I saw when I came, he was taken into hospital the following day, and he literally has come out of what looked like the grave. And so he needed to have assistance because my stepmother had become ill herself in taking care of him, and there needed to be more help. And we thought, my siblings and I thought, that we were putting him in a place that was run by doctors. They had systems in place and all of those things,
Oversee his care, someone with all the medical expertise.
not just the medical expertise, but the systems and so on and so forth. And so we actually didn't, we forced ourselves not to look at the financial outlay. That was not the concern. The concern was really that he was going to be taken care of. And we were told that he was going to be taken care of, that they had the requisite skills, the capacity, as well as the resources, the experience, and the systems to make certain that he is well taken care of. And I came and I found I was shocked. I was asking a lot of questions, lots of questions. I went to the home 2 times in one day, and lo and behold, the next day they take him to the hospital. They take him to the hospital. There's no docket along with him to say what are the things that are needed or what happened leading up to this point,
Conditions that haven't been
all of
reported.
those things. And so the problem is, you know, that finding the right place, the right people, that's that's the harder part. That's the harder part, because my father is suffering from an illness where he's not himself. And I've come to terms with that. It is sad in and of itself, but I also know that my father was a good father. He made a lot of sacrifices. And no matter what life looks like for him now, he ought to be taken, he ought to be living his days out with the greatest care, love, and dignity that he possibly can. And that's my concern. And I don't want anything less for him, because I have God to answer to. And I also have to answer to him because he did right by me. So I take it very seriously, very, very, very seriously. And I have a right to take it seriously. And I have a right to make demands of people who are offering those services to my father and to question. That is my right. He is vulnerable. I have to be his mouthpiece plus tax, and I will not stop. And so it may offend some people, but I'm not doing it for people. I'm not doing it to be loud. I'm doing it because this man, without him, I would not be here.
Yeah.
Without him, I would not be here. And he deserves the best care. And so I agreed to this program because I wanted to highlight the fact that we have to do better. We
Yeah.
have to do better in the places where care is being
There is
offered.
offered. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing. Um, there is just a great difference when someone no longer has the ability to advocate for themselves, and we have to become the advocates for them. And also in instances where someone still has the capability to share what they want, we do have to look at the obligation to meet that need. Um, in Pastor Brown's case, his wife was able to say what she needed. Um, Carrie had to be the mouthpiece based on what she saw with her dad. Um, Care what is needed for a home to be a home, whether it is the family residence or it is a care facility. We want to hear from you. Send us your texts, WhatsApp, voice notes, keep them 30 seconds or less, and send to 9-876-997-3125. You can give us a call on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8328. And remember to comment and watch us on the social media platforms, Facebook or YouTube. We'll be back after this break.
I'm Itana, and human trafficking is everybody's business. Call 1-888-PROTECT to report suspected cases of child trafficking.
The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6 o'clock.
You can see the face, but not the heart. Those who want to do you wrong. So many times.
Bless up. This is Christopher Martin. Human trafficking is a crime. Let's unite to end human trafficking. Be wise, open your eyes, spot them, stop them, and report them.
a message from the Ministry of National Security.
This Emancipation Day, experience a night of powerful praise and purpose. CC Winans brings her More Than This tour to Jamaica with Chevelle Franklin, Kevin Downswell, Prince Saj, John Mark Wigan, hosted by IT Ellis and Nadine Blair. Gates open 2 p.m., showtime 5 p.m. Tickets at select outlets island-wide or online at spuropen.com. Follow at More Than This Jamaica on Instagram for updates. CC Winans, More Than This concert with a call. Friday, August 1, Kings House East Lawns.
Welcome back. Let's go right to Rev Mike. Get right to Rev Mike with this week's episode of WTF Word to Flesh Moment.
In the Bible, husbands are commanded to love their wives. Wives, in turn, are commanded to respect their husbands. Children are commanded to honor father and mother. This is the perfect family dynamic. Our family should be a place of love and support. In addition, when things go wrong, as is normal in human relationships, a family should be a place of forgiveness. Colossians 3:13 says, "Bear with one another and forgive one another." So as we grow old and life takes its toll and illness hits, family should still be a place of care, love, and support. For I do believe that's God's way. That's what he expects. We all know of instances where people age and get sick and are left uncared for in their later years. The excuse usually given is he or she was not nice to family members in their younger years. This is vindictive and inexcusable, and certainly not the will or way of a loving God. It should therefore not be our way, especially if we claim to be followers or lovers of God. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Thank you, Rev Mike. If you're just joining us, you are tuned to Love 101 FM, and this is Family Time, brought to you by the Family Life Ministries. Family Life Ministries provide counseling to people with challenges from all walks of life. And this evening's discussion is about a caring home when a loved one is ill. Our special guest today, we have Apostle Larry Brown and we have Carrie Heron. Apostle Brown is a very recent widow. He is joining us from the U.S. In Virginia. And Carrie's father is now in need of special care here in Jamaica. Even when someone wants the help, needs a care facility, it isn't always easy. We have to look at the cost of care, whether it's a facility or providing it in home. And sometimes we have to look at limited options because there is perhaps a lack of providers, and then to Carrie's point, a lack of capable providers. Let's talk some more about the systems that sometimes fail people when they need help the most. Carrie, I'm going to pick up where you left off because you mentioned the challenge. He was in a care facility, and based on the care that was being given to him, it was poor. He is now hospitalized. And it wasn't until you initiated the discussion from your most recent visit and started to ask questions that that took place. Um, what do you believe are some of the biggest barriers or challenges you have faced in this entire process? And what is the support that would be most helpful for you now?
That's a great question. What I found, I we've been looking into the new places. There are the people who have to take care of my father have to have specialized knowledge of his condition and be able to take care of him. But as I was telling the sister at the university hospital, that I am more leaning towards people who actually care, finding people who care, and then creating the systems to support them that they may not have. Because if you're starting from a place of real, genuine care, you're better off than somebody who says they have the right systems but really don't care. So because that's the challenge. What I found a home um, that's run by a sister in Christ, and she sees it as a ministry, and it's big enough to take many people. She doesn't have many people now, but what I've noticed so far is that we have not invested enough as a country, as a nation, in these kinds of places. And so when you find some places that actually have the capacity, have the care, and so on, they don't necessarily have the money to do all the things that we would want them to do. And so we have to I thought we had the conversation just over the weekend. What are we doing as a society where, especially, there's a rising number of people who are needing institutionalized care? This is not just somebody who's ill and needs to have like hospice kind of care at home. There sometimes people just need to be able to have professionals around, and sometimes professionals cannot be provided in terms of full time qualified nurses and 24 hours a day. So you have to put somebody in an institution to ensure that they have the best care. What are we doing while we are not reinvesting? That home was taking $125,000 monthly from not only our father but for the other 20 to 26 patients.
Other
Where is
patients?
that money going back into the facility? I'm not seeing that. I'm not, the place is not showing that the money was being invested in the people. So this is a concern. When you find a place that is really nice, then you're not going to be able to find then you're still not seeing that they're getting the support that they need. And so I even thought as well that I want to raise money for the new home that I found. She sees it as a ministry, and that's a great place to start. If she feels called to this, she loves these older people. She just doesn't have the financial support. She tells us of the things that she wants to do. There's a garden outside. She has them participating in it. There are lots of quiet spaces, but it's an older building that's been there for a long time. It needs some
Facilities
renovations,
need
and
to
so we have to
perhaps
be able to
be
connect.
improved.
We have to help. The church has to step in to make certain that we are taking care of the elderly and providing help to families that need help in taking care of their elderly, and not just elderly, but others as well. But it usually happens for the elderly who need extra care, or anybody else who needs institutionalized care specifically.
Yeah, I am going to come to you shortly, Apostle Brown. But Carrie, I hope you noticed that in your response, when I asked, what would be the support that you need now, you have turned around to kind of be the support for the change that you want to see. And I think that's a wonderful start. So, commendations to you for that. If it is that we can look at sponsorship for facilities that need to be updated, or just the general standard of care they will offer to all the patients and occupants. And so I commend you for that. It's
It's
a
the green acres. It's the green pastures home. It was green acres before. She's called it green pastures because she's basing it on scripture.
Yeah, I love that. And so much of what you said comes back to what Apostle Brown mentioned, where persons who have genuine care, love, compassion, seeing the person and looking beyond just their circumstance, but to look at the heart of giving love and dignified care. Apostle Brown, I'll allow you to share.
Thank you. I appreciate a lot of what Carrie has already said. Um, and with anything that's many perspectives of it. For example, when I said that I was able to communicate, well, actually, I was able to listen. And what my wife was telling me, it was like, okay, something like, okay, a certain type of food or a certain type of music that, but on the other side of it, on the legal side, medical power of attorney, I can make those difficult decisions even when she couldn't. And that's important because, and I'll go back to what I heard, and basically, some loved ones, family members, they should not be caregivers at all. Period. Because they're going to come up with their time, their schedule. They can't do it. And okay, then you're not the one. But on the other side of that, also you have to be very selective as to the medical facility. Um, and whether you're talking about a hospital, a clinic, a nursing home, uh, the nurses that come in, if you allow the others, the system, to make decisions for your loved one, it may not be the right one. So we have to become informed. And when we become informed, we can take better care of our loved one. We know that we cannot address the medical side because we're not trained like that. But when you come with something that's medically, but it goes against the actual care, because okay, you want money. We never had the problem with insurance. But if you have insurance, then have people that want to take advantage of the insurance as well. So there's no getting around you being the advocate, being informed, and communicating. And it's going to take a toll on you. I'm going to say this, I'm going to let it go. As caregivers, we must know up front. It's going to take time. It's going to affect your life. But when you realize who you're doing it for, see, to me, that's the essence of love right there. I could talk about marriage vows. We know people don't always keep their vows. So it's not the vows, it's what you're going to do at the point of impact. How do you show your love? The, the worst possible time. Because you cannot make it about you. It has to be about the person.
Yeah, I was wondering as I listened to you share, Apostle Brown, were these some of the challenges that made you make that difficult decision to bring your wife back home so that you could be her primary caregiver?
Oh, yes. I mean, and that's another thing. She had an illness for 18 years, and it wasn't always visible. You didn't know. So it was only in the last two. And then unfortunately, last year, her situation got worse where she had to go into hospice. And the hospice experience was the worst because that's my point. Complete strangers come in a home. They read something somewhere in the chart and they want to come and pretty much dictate. Well, wait a minute. I'm the one taking care, I'm the one providing the medication, the dose. I'm the one up throughout the night. So hold on. Okay. So we got to work this as a team. And so that was my point was got that understanding. But as the husband, uh, and as her spiritual covering, I'm just not going to let you come in here and dictate.
Yeah,
That was my point. And they were kind of upset. I'm like, I do not care.
yeah.
Here's
A
I'm going
big
to make this
part.
last point. Every last one of them were getting paid to do that job. I'm not doing no favor. Do your job.
Yeah. I think a big part of what you both shared too is that we have to be partners in the process. We have to look at the person who stands to support the patient. So you have to look and involve the caregiver also. Their input is just as valid. We are heading into our final break. This is Family Time, and we are live on Love 101 FM. You can join us on YouTube and Facebook also. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our feedback question for today is, what does a home need to be a home? Whether it's your family residence or it is a care facility. Send us your answers via WhatsApp text or voice note. Keep them 30 seconds or less, and you can send to 876-997-3125 or give us a call on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 8. You can also watch and comment live on our social media platforms. We also want you to know that Family Life Ministries have two books that are available and on shelf today. Their titles are Answers to Questions Parents Ask and Questions on Love, Sex, and Marriage. You can purchase from Bryan Bookstore, the Jamaica Baptist Union Bookstore, and also Source of Light Bookstore. And there is also a third book, Before They Say I Do, the questionnaire and manual. Now, this one is specifically for counselors, psychologists, pastors, and marriage officers. And all three books are also available through the Family Life Ministries office. So you can give them a call at 876 920 1034 or 876 926 8101 or 876 579 8690. Don't go away. We'll be back from the break soon.
Remix the summer with Digicel. 100 lucky winners win $100,000 each, plus surprises all summer. Gift a friend a plan. They could win $25,000, and the time by Digicel is now 6:17 p.m.
It's more than a race. It's a launch pad. The New Testament Church of God 5K Run Walk to raise funds for 100 scholarships for students from primary to tertiary levels. Step out in faith. Make every stride count. It's the New Testament Church of God 5K Run Walk, Saturday, July 19 at 6:30 a.m. Starting point at the Emancipation Park. Register now at runningeventsjamaica.com. Call 876-967-4903 for more information. As the New Testament Church of God celebrates 100 years in Jamaica.
Remix the summer with Digicel. 100 lucky winners win $100,000 each, plus surprises all summer. To enter, buy a SIM, 7-day plan or higher, switch to Digicel, be an active postpaid or Digicel Plus customer, or receive US $15 or more from abroad. Gift a friend a plan. They could win $25,000. Remix the summer with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promo ends September 15, 2025. Conditions apply. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for more info. Digicel, better connected this summer.
Welcome back. It is now 6:18 p.m. and you're tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by the Family Life Ministries, providing counseling to people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune into our program via our social media platform and pages, Facebook and YouTube. Today's topic is a caring home when a loved one is ill. And our special guest today, we have Pastor Larry Brown and Carrie Heron. Um, Carrie, there is something I am wondering, as you shared earlier. You had mentioned you don't reside in Jamaica, but you're currently away. Your stepmom would have also gotten to a stage where she's perhaps not as capable and requires care also, uh, or not able to follow through with the care that's needed for your dad. What else can be done when the primary person that is responsible for the care of a loved one is far away? Is there something such as, I'm thinking maybe a proxy of some sort, some other
So I
independent?
have siblings. I have siblings, and of which one has stepped up to stand in the gap. And I don't want you to believe as if my father doesn't have other children who are conscious and involved in his care. My brother has been the one to try and take over not only that his care, and he has to deal with his brother's care as well, but also to deal with the business of the farm that daddy also ran.
Ah,
So it's a lot on it. Plus, he has his
many
own
roles.
business and all of those things. And I have another brother who's just migrated as well. So that makes it a lot more complicated. I think in terms of the options that could be available are to have the person. I think the first thing is to have the person in their home as best as possible. People are better off when they're in their home. By that time they already have um their preferences, they have their
Yeah,
routines. It's just like
familiarity with the
home.
space
Yes.
and how they
And they
operate.
have, yes. So if home is a beautiful place, if home is a peaceful place, if home is a loving place, then that home would be ideal. um so you could have a person who is a caregiver coming in, whether it's a family member or somebody who's paid to do it. Some oftentimes family caregivers are not paid. It's a job that is just taken on because somebody recognizes that it needs to be done, and I will offer myself to do the job. I wish I was here. That's part of my own journey and my own pain, because I always thought that I would take care of my parents, and I've been the capacity to do so. And even if I'm not the one who's completely in giving total primary care, be the one who is managing the process. I'm the eldest daughter and stuff like that, and I was the eldest one for so many years. So there's a lot of struggle with that, but there's also getting somebody into the home
Yeah.
to help. And that might be you might, depending on what the person needs though, that's where the challenge is.
Challenges come in.
Yeah.
Understood. Pastor Larry Brown, you took the role, you had your wife move from the care facility to being at home. Um, what kind of support was most necessary for you when you became the primary caregiver and she was at the home? So others in your position, what kind of support can we offer to them?
Okay, but I didn't actually move her from a facility. Um, she was going back and forth to her appointments, and I drove her and
Okay.
I coordinated that. So it was the last part, the hospice part, where she was at home. So again, she wasn't always in that situation. She could communicate. She can do some things. Um, but I'm going to piggyback once again. Uh, we have to tap into external support. For example, um, she had family, even family out of state. They would come on occasion and stay. Uh, when you can't do that, there's FaceTime, there's the phone, there's many things you can do, even when a person is at the hospital. Communicate on the phone, face, do a lot of stuff. Uh, so, and I think I want to make this point too. You can make that facility, even if it's a 2 or 3 day stay in the hospital, you can make that stay in the hospital feel like home because you bring home there. Okay,
Amen.
you bring your presence there.
Yeah.
Uh,
It makes a
and
difference.
and in the end, being a pastor, we knew a lot of pastors. They would come over to the house. They would go to the hospital. They would pray with her, sing with her, that kind of thing. I think I want to end on this point because I made it to others. Love does not need an invitation to show up. Some people are like, well, nobody, no, no. Love does not need an invitation to show up. You know, I shouldn't have to get on the phone. Can you please come over here? If you know what's going on, you should. Because making yourself available for a couple of hours does not compare with the caregiver being there all the time, especially at night. Make that time. We have to do that. Now, let's make it sound personal, but I strongly believe that. You know, love does not need an invitation to show up.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I believe it. And I saw you had agreement from Carrie as well. I saw her resounding yes. So we absolutely, that's one we're gonna take away from today. Love does not need an invitation to show up, be present and participate when you can, because it doesn't compare to a care facility or a caregiver. When we are family, we're the familiar faces, we're the persons who would have been a part of the memories that were created and shared.
You can't park them. You cannot park them in facilities and leave them thinking that other people are going to do what you're not willing to do
Yeah,
yourself.
we have
And
to clear
even
up.
in the hospital, in care facilities as well, they tend to also reflect the kind of care. If they see that you don't care, they are less inclined to clear themselves. If they see that there is somebody who will be completely and utterly heartbroken if something were to happen, they might think twice when they are walking by.
Someone who they know they will be accountable to, that is very present, who is observing, who is very
Asking
intuitive.
questions.
Very, yeah, they will be keen to that, because you're gonna expect me to come here every day at this time, and I'm gonna ask what happened. So we have to be partners in the process. It's not a put away situation and okay, hand it over.
And
um
even in the hospital, I'll tell you this, in the hospital, I go there, I hug daddy, I talk to daddy. My father has dementia, so he's not all together here all the time. But I don't care. I talk to him as though he were all together here, because I also believe in spirit. I believe that his spirit is quite alive until God takes him. And so I talk to him, I smile with him, I give him jokes, I talk his business loudly. And then other people are hearing in the nursing home, and they started jumping on the conversation because they're so excited that somebody is
Community,
talking.
beauty of
And
community.
he responds because he's a person. And yes, he's not as cognitive as he used to be. This man is a man with an MBA who also had a first degree in economics, who's had a really strong career, and is an intellectual, a very brilliant man. But at the end of the day, he is where he is now. But that doesn't mean that we can't show up and talk to him and give him jokes and tell him what is going on. All of these things, I show up every day as much as I possibly
I
can.
love that. I love that, Carrie. And I know that is something I want to be a takeaway. So, listeners, you heard it from someone who is living the experience. That's what she does. It allows community to engage, and it really does change the atmosphere of the entire situation. We have a minute to go. Pastor Brown, what is your departing words for our listeners today, for anyone who may be going through a similar situation just now?
My parting words is don't forget about the grief process. What I learned in my study, we talk about our grief, but the person uh, that is in that situation, they go through that process as well. They're thinking about that. So it's two sides of the coin here.
There is two sides to the coins. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us. If you or someone you know may be experiencing a similar situation, you have heard it from our special guest today, Carrie and Apostle Brown. Um, Engage, be a part of the process. And of course, we have to also look at the caregivers and the cycle of the changes they are also experiencing. We want to thank you so much for being here with us today. If you have questions of a personal nature, or you are concerned about a family member or friend, give us a call. For more information on the services that are provided at the Family Life Ministries for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, please contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. We have heard your reports. We have listened for those who are having challenges contacting us at some of the numbers by our provider. We still have another number that you can call, and that is 876 579 8690 and 876 279 8678. Please note that for appointments and information on cost, you must call the office. Otherwise, to keep up with all that's happening with the Family Life Ministries, all our programs, be sure to follow us on our new Facebook page at FLM Family Life Ministries. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and also on Instagram at simply FLMJA. Before we leave this evening, here is our parting Bible verse. Ecclesiastic chapter 4 and verse 10. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 10. Now join us again for another informative program next week. Thanks again to our special guests, Pastor Brown and Carrie Heron, and also thanks to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Derval Graham, for piloting us through this hour. And of course, we are wishing you a fantastic rest of the week. I was your host for today, Tamika Scott Walters. See you next time.
You're tuned to Family Radio broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica. We're Love 101 FM, and the time is now 6:31 p.m. It's time for us to bring you the evening